What's up, cappers, punters, gamblers, hustlers, lowbaggers? What's up, Oprah? Welcome into the late night show for June 14th. Happy Flag Day out there to you. Whether you're an American, a Canadian, good day to be a Canadian, Jimmy, or here in Costa Rica. Time for the show. Let's grab some winners. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Nice. Drew Martin live in studio for us today. Man, it's nice to have you here, man. Drinking a coconut.
When in Rome.
Pura vida, man.
Pura vida, Mize.
Oh, what a treat it is. What a treat it is to have our guy Drew Martin here. We're also going to be joined by Donnie Rightside in 37 minutes. We have MLB full schedule, 15 games. I only made 3 bets yesterday, and I just tweeted out my record over the last, 13 days, Drew. And it's not even 10 days? 10 days?
I don't know, man. You're hot.
48 and 24, up 23.29 units, and I needed them desperately because I was telling Drew that I was not going to keep coming to work and I was going to go back to Canada. And I'm not joking. I just can't go through what happened again last year. Last year, it happened, and I had Pete beside me. And thank God. Pete was just spectacular. And he had a good season, and thank God. But if it's just me alone down 60 units, I'm going to fuck off.
It's a tough one. And
Yeah.
You might just have to head back to Canada at that point. But I'm glad you're not, man.
Yeah, I'm glad too. And I'm so happy to have you here in Costa Rica. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. We got Vinny Cornell, Flick My Bick, Jeremy Miller, the bartender. Our guy Harry Dubitsky says, love Rays, Padres, A's, and Twins. The A's smashed lefties, but have bad numbers against Marco Gonzalez. And we're going to talk about all these games moving forward. Jeremy Miller's on Twins run line, Rays run line, and took a shot with the Phils money line so far. God, I can't wait to break down all these games. There's my guy, Failed at Life. Flick My Bick, Padres money line at plus 110. Got it earlier. Yanks guy, our Yanks expert says, props, Snell over 6.5 Ks, Hoffman over 5.5 Ks, Heaney over 6 Ks, Cole over 8.5 Ks. There's our guy Doug Barnhouse coming off a 3-for-3 day in the World Cup. We got Ron Lofton. We got Jeremy Miller also on under a half runs first inning. Pitt, Miami going for no score in the Pitt, Miami first inning. That's going to be another interesting spot with Stephen Brault going. I'm so excited to have Drew to break down these games with, and then Donnie. So Donnie, we're going to bring in Donnie 10 minutes earlier. We're going to bring him right at 6 p.m. So we're going to bring Donnie in 20 minutes. Ron Lofton, Mally Mal, Cobra Sports, little round robin action for Cobra. Astros run line, Twins run line, Brewers money line. We were just talking about that game, the Astros game, right before the show started, whether we want to take a shot with the Jays. There's going to be a 55-cent line move towards the Astros, man.
I mean, it might be a buy low opportunity. We were talking about it right before the show started as far as it's just a big plus price, man.
It's a huge plus price, but in the morning show, there was nobody saying Jays. It was all Astros run line.
Run line on the run line.
Yeah. Red Girl in the house. Love seeing you, Red Girl. There's our guy, Astute Chaos, coming off a 2-in-1 day yesterday. Bricker Overland saying, what up, Drew? Ron Lofton saying, Drew. Sports Cake saying, so happy for you, Jim. Congrats. Thank you. It's a very, very wonderful day in Canada right now. In Toronto, Vancouver's I find can be friendlier than Toronto. Toronto can be cold sometimes, not a lot of smiles, but I've been seeing a lot of clips of people on the streets, and it's just high fives and just smiles and everybody happy to see each other. I like Arthur Meade Jr., Viper NB, Brian Riley. So Brian Riley, our cat here, Brian Riley. So yesterday on the Late Show, we're talking about the Rays-Angels game, and there'd been a 10-cent move towards the Rays, and Brian Riley's like, look, I watch the Rays nonstop. I'm a Rays guy.
Right.
I'm taking the Angels today. I know the Angels are going to smash today. And he's like, take them. And then a couple of guys said, do it. We're on the Angels. I'm like, okay. So I got him at plus 135. Ohtani hits for the cycle. They're up 3-0 before the first half of the inning. Shout out to our guy, Brian Riley. And at $125 units at plus 135, I believe that was $167.50 or $168.50 that you put in my pocket. And that pocket needs it badly because I had to send in all my futures, as Drew saw me doing today. I had to send in all my futures, and it was disappointing. Thank God this has been a good month because $1,900.
But still up on the season, even with the futures losses.
Yeah.
Don't shy away from those. You're still up double digits in both NHL and NBA, correct?
Yes. Yes.
That's impressive, man.
Thank you. But one thing about doing this, with transparency and honesty and all that, is that you really start seeing where the mistakes are coming. And for me, it's now 2 years in a row. And, it's so funny because the Penguins, for 2 years in a row, were putting money in my pocket, and one of the biggest scores of my life, a 10G score on that first Stanley Cup. And the second Stanley Cup saved me. That I was in a real bad spot, and that overtime goal in Game 7, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, like I literally wouldn't be down here. Where like my whole life would have changed. I know it's scary to say,
a
but
life-changing
I
moment
swear,
on a sports bet.
no doubt, my whole life would be different if Ottawa had scored that.
Would you
goal.
still be alive?
I'd probably be alive, but probably in a ditch somewhere drinking. So the futures have hurt me, and the playoffs have hurt me, and I'm changed. And what's happening is my futures get in my head come playoff time, and I start thinking, I've got 1,900 I could possibly lose. And one thing we talk about in gambling is worst case scenario, because in life the worst case scenario happens rarely. In gambling, it seems to happen quite often, man. It seems to happen quite
Money
often.
management. Don't bet too much on any one game.
But this all started with Brian Riley putting $168.50 in my pocket. Brian, thank you so much. There's my guy Shadow. I love him so much. Shadow up 53 units in NHL this year. So, I try to think that I'm one of the best NHL cappers, but we have some guys. Jin Rummy had a better season than me. Shadow had a better season than me. A bunch of these guys had better seasons than me. And it's teamwork, working together. That's how we defeat the juice. And shout out to our guy Shadow. There's a Raven in the Desert. Walla Dos. Alex Ramirez, Spidey play today's Astros run line and Twins run line. Elio Top said Jimmy, it's called the dark side. Yes, I know that dark side very well. Now people said Jimmy on life support. Yeah, I swear to God, no joke. I would not be here if Chris Kunitz didn't score that goal in double overtime.
I wonder where you'd be, for real.
Yeah, I wonder where I'd be too. And I couldn't eat all day. It was one of those things where I just couldn't eat. I couldn't eat. So when you're not eating, just one drink and you're drunk, and I'm sitting alone. And you know what I was doing? I moved to different bars. When
they're doing better. I've done.
I would just move. Yeah, it's something you probably do when you're in Vegas at playing poker, right? You get up if you feel like this. Let's move to a new poker room. Let's move to a new poker room. I was just getting up after each period and like walking the streets, looking at nobody, and then popping into a new bar, and then sitting by myself, staring, talking to nobody. Fuck. Wow, great memories. Great memories. There's Twadi Latte. There's the sports keg. Luca Di Stefano. There's Ski. Profit says transparency, right? Jimmy helps you learn what you're doing wrong. Absolutely. There is Rego. Okay, we got a great group. Shadow on the Montreal Edmonton under 50. And I think that's probably... Oh, there's our guy Levi, also Astros run line. So we still have not seen a Blue Jays play yet. Nats run line. Brewers money line. And we got 111 Wolf says Cole gives up more home runs and runs per inning. Toronto first 5 maybe. That's what I want to get to, 111 Wolf. Well, let's take a look at what the Jays are plus a half first 5. We'll get into that soon. There's Ilya Katz. There's Noli Nose. Twadi Latte says Jimmy looks like Drew's little brother. And Noli Nose says Drew Martin in the building. Gas Station Sushi says Drew, how's the Del Rey? We keep that stuff in-house. We keep that stuff in the house. Only I get to know. Not applicable says pray for Ski's Warriors rip. Hey, $10,000 bet was just made at the Superbook. The $10,000 bet was just made on the Warriors to win the NBA championships at 14-1.
The next year's championship?
Yeah, just made today, like 2 hours ago.
That's a long time for them to hold your money.
Yeah, but that guy probably has some, but that just happened. There's Will Rosa Rem Most saying Drew is so happy right now. I'm so happy right now. It's fun to have somebody here rolling with us. Ron Lofton says Giolito due for a loss. Red Girl says no drama in the chat for Jimmy. We don't need, let's just work together. Twilight says it's like Drew is volunteering in a Big Brother program.
I saw that. I was about to, I have enough problems myself. I don't know if I would really qualify.
But you're the polite capper. You're the polite capper. I love when Max was calling you the polite capper. Yeah. It's so funny. So funny. Okay, man, we could just sit here and hang. Ski Pop says they're smoking some good if they think the Warriors winning next year. I like that bet. I tell you what, right when I saw that bet at 14-1 on a team that has Steph, my guess is they're going to re-sign KD, and he's going to want... Now there's unfinished business, and that was something that they didn't have before.
Right.
And that's something that drives you. And now they have 2 guys out from 9 months to a year. To be honest with you, I saw that bet, and I was like, I like it. That's my first instinct. With 14-1,
really?
Getting those guys back.
Even if they're not going to get those guys back. I mean, 9 months to... If it's a year, they're not going to get them back, right?
Well, if it's 9 months to a year, I mean, do you get them back late? You know, my team with Steph on it.
In the West, though, the Lakers didn't make
The Lakers are favored to win the NBA championship?
Yeah, that's
Ski, what do you think about that? I mean, that was nuts.
That's a little aggressive.
That was nuts. Animatic says, Jimmy Bag, on days Drew can't make it, my offer stands to set up an iPod on a broomstick and call me for the late shows. An iPod on a broomstick. I think we could do better. Ski Prophet says, resign KD and Clay, but they both won't play. Okay, well, we got to get to work. And Eric Jones announced. There's Russell Gordy says Yanks under, but they win. Jay Scum says, sadly, I agree, Ski. My Warriors are going to struggle this year. And just having your energy beside me, finishing off this Friday. And also, I guess I feel like there's a weight off my chest getting my futures out there publicly.
Yeah, you feel better about it.
Because they existed. And I actually did some hedging privately. So that publicly, it was actually worse than it was privately. Because privately, I did a little hedging, with the Blues and with Bruins, little stuff there where, I was like, I'm not gonna keep this stuff in house, But then having to show that there's $1,654 of losses, and then my 2 Rockets futures. So I had to publicly show everybody that I was down $2,000 in my NHL and NBA futures, and I'm just thankful that this is a good month. I mean, what if I was down $1,500 this month, and then I had to put an extra $2,000 on that, and then I come in, and you're here with your coconut, and I just want to fucking smack it off the table, So it is a treat. I feel like there's a weight off my back, and I'm so happy that Drew is here. Day Junior Smile says, Red Sox -1.5, my best bet of the day. Okay, let's get to work. Not Football said I would rather bet 10,000 on the Blues to repeat. Brian Riley says Marlins tonight, the bag. I love seeing that. And One Wolf says something I actually was thinking about, saying athletes don't need a full year from ACL anymore. I was actually thinking that as well. I was thinking that 9 months is something that you can shoot for. And okay. Well, and depends on what kind of shape. And iTouch says, what's the taint? The taint is taking a break. And speaking of that, Matt Randall, the creator of the taint, that's become the hottest play here at Betting with the Bag, is going through some difficulty stuff with his family. So if you could just send out some strength and love to the Randall family, whom we care about so very, very much. Joe Vyson said, Jimmy, we took Angels versus Rays yesterday, plus money. Mariners plus money. Great value today. Maybe that's it, Joe Vyson. Maybe that the fact that the A's smashed lefties, that we should put a line through that and say Gonzalez can neutralize those lefties, and we'll go over that. Maybe that's a good look. First off, we are going to, and if any of the cappers in the chat want to talk about what they're doing, WNBA, maybe we can talk about it after our guy Donnie joins us, but we just don't have time now. We've kind of messed around for a little bit too long. We have 4 games on the on the docket here. Storm, Mystics, Sun, Lynx, Sparks, Mercury. Mercury opened up at a pick'em. They're now at -3. New Liberty Aces. We've heard Revenge Game Jay has been waiting for this opportunity for the Aces to be back at home. He says that Aces are going to smash them. We're going to talk more about that stuff, but at this point, I don't want to spend too much time on it. What I do want to spend a little bit of time on is this Eskimos Alouettes game. We've heard that there's thunderstorms. I'd love it if somebody in Edmonton could tell us if it's raining right now, because it sounds like there's just going to be thunderstorms at times. But huge. The total opened at 52. It's now at 50. Our guy Noli knows already 1 for 1 on CFL unders, and the spread went from 10 to 8. And we're talking about this, an Alouettes team that just fired Mike Sherman a week and a half ago and shocked everybody. And Kari Jones is a guy I'm a fan of. So he was the offensive coordinator. He's been promoted to head coach. Immediately calls Pipkin the team's starting quarterback. Trevor Harris arrives from Edmonton. He brings along Greg Ellenson. So, Trevor Harris always smashed the Alouettes when he was over with the Red Blacks. And this Edmonton team has won 10 straight meetings with the Owls. But this big of a spread going against, I don't want to go against the market. And I don't know if I even want to jump on the under. DJ 100 Grand says Montreal. Maybe that is the look, watching it move there. But I certainly don't want to put my money on Montreal first game on the road. Have you looked at this game at all?
Yeah, and you bring up the weather concerns, it being week 1. I'm always looking towards defense to have an advantage in football early on. I love that look. We saw it last night with the under hitting, plus add in the weather concerns. I like the under here. You can still find it at 50, Jimmy. That's the way I'm looking at this first CFL game.
And it makes sense.
Second CFL game, excuse me.
It makes sense to hit the under. It does make sense. I don't know if I want to hammer it right now. They say that the Alouettes defense is going to be stronger this year. I need to see it in person. I don't want to make too many moves. Noli knows says Jones says he wants to air it out. I'm leaning over tonight. Oh, there's the man making unders great again. So all said and done, and I am going to cap the 2 games tomorrow and tweet them out, especially my Lions with Riley getting his first start. But at this point, I don't want to make a move on this Alouettes-Eskimos game. And I started the year 1-for-1 yesterday, but I didn't bet the full game because I could only get 3.5 where I was getting 3 on the show. And that was a mistake. I couldn't believe I didn't hit the first half after the Caleros injury. And let's see, Liberty Finder says Eskimos under parlay. Jay Scum says 10 is a lot of points, even though it's Montreal, isn't it, Jimmy? It is now in week 1. In week 13, some of these teams have given up. And that was when we talked about booking full trips to Vegas. It was always around these Alouettes just giving up and the players enjoying the party in Montreal rather than working hard. And so they're 8-10 point spreads don't scare me nearly as much later in the season as they do early in the season. We have An American in the chat. He's going to be coming in. And he's not coming in live, but he sent us a video for Bellator. We're going to play that shortly. Shadow says Pipkin has only thrown 93 passes in his entire career. I'm just going to stay off of it. Noli knows there's a lot of question marks in this CFL game. We're going to hammer CFL all year, and this just isn't the game I want to work on.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. In Montreal, one of the worst, if not the worst team in CFL? I mean, you can see it in the...
who just fired their coach a week and a half before.
And there's something to do with that. You don't fire your coach right before the season starts. You almost never see that. So that brings up huge question marks with the roster, the coach. The new coach stepping up obviously had old ties, so there's huge question marks there. And to see the number go from 10 to 8, 8.5 now to favoring, Montreal, moving in their direction, it's just a lot of different things at work here. And for if you're not in the CFL hardcore, which I'm not, it's almost like there's too many question marks to sit here and try to beat it.
Even when you are early in the season, if you had told me yesterday that Caleros would go down halfway through the first quarter and I'm sitting there with a Ticats -2 ticket, I'd be like, oh, fuck, this is going to cash so easily. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even cash. So, so let's just move on. We're not making a move here. And seeing the king of unders, Noli knows liking the over. I mean, I'm just going to leave this alone. And Ski Profit leaning Sun under. And this is the team that people are really, really liking this year in the WNBA. Let's just look at spreads and totals. And Cuban Connect says, Jimmy, it's a week game, leave it alone. Absolutely. And we got there's angles in this MLB card, and we're going to spend the rest of the show hammering MLB. That's what we're going to do. Donnie's joining us in 10 minutes. We got Drew here. The whole rest of the show will be us hammering MLB. The Sun opened at -3.5. They're now at -6. Wow. Big favorites, and that point's gone up 1. So that's what's up. We're not going to spend more time on those sports. We're going to spend the rest of the card on baseball, and I'm so excited about hammering it. But first, our guy, Anna Merrick, coming off a monster UFC, and it was one of the UFCs that I was so focused on the Belmont I didn't tail, and he was up like 10 units. He had like a +800 parlay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And Cejudo, he had Cejudo inside the distance. I believe it was just casher after casher after casher. And Jerry Miller said last time Noli told me to take an over, it cashed. I believe that. It's like seeing, because Noli's home team are the unders, right? So it's like when you see someone betting against their team, that's when Noli takes an over. He's like betting against his first love. Jay Money saying Aces first quarter, first half full game. And this is what Revenge Game Jay had been talking about for a while, was the Aces here. And it's funny, they opened up -13.5. Maybe that was too much. It's down to 12 or 12.5. I guess the Aces would come out them early. And you know what? Maybe I'll take a look at maybe jumping on the Aces first quarter, because I've only made one WNBA bet, and that was Aces first quarter last week. Maybe I'll take a look at that. But first, before we get into the MLB card and hammer for the rest of the show, Rafa, can we drop our guy Anna Merrick's Bellator play of the day?
Good morning, low baggers, and congrats to all my Raptors backers and Canadian brothers out there. Congratulations being on that money, and congratulations on that championship. I don't know if y'all know this, it may be Friday, but SBR didn't have time for me this week, but there is some MMA tonight, and I just could not leave you hanging. Yes, it's tonight. It's not tomorrow. Bellator 222 tonight is headlined by Rory McDonald defending his title in the welterweight tournament. Sorry about that. We are going to parlay him with Juan Archuleta. You can get a slight dog line parlay in those two guys. We've got about plus 130, plus 140 with that parlay. Chael P. Sonnen is plus 260 facing Lyoto the Dragon Machida, and I am all over him. I think that fight's going to be close. He's the rightful dog, but that is too wide of a line, and y'all know me. I take my shots on my dogs. Plus 260 on Chael Sonnen. And then earlier on in the fight night, we are going to go with Ricky Bandejas. He is the future of Bellator, and they are giving him a chance to shine here. Minus 125, minus 140, somewhere in that range. 3 picks for you for Bellator. Everybody have a great weekend. Best of luck if you tail. Let's roll.
There is our guy, Anthony Merrick. Some nice looks, some plus lines. And when he gets rolling, the confident, you can see it just the way he's talking about his plays. I'm going to roll over all those picks, watch that video again. And Jay Stanley says that Chael isn't on roids this time, and he's laughing. Coco Bongo says, I like the over in CFL. Everybody got hammered on Molson up here last night. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. Okay, let's get into this MLB card. So, Drew, I'd really like you to take it away. I'm going to go over my plays that I made on the early show, and then we'll start with the games that you want to break down. Sure. I enjoy that the most, and then we'll let Donnie lead the way then, and then I'll ask questions. Questions. Donnie can't stay with us the entire time, so he's going to leave after about 15 minutes, and then we'll hammer the rest of the card on our own. So I'm on the Indians on the -1 line. I got minus, and stop me if you're going to make plays on any of these. So I got the Indians on the -1 line. Let's see exactly, what I got here, going to MLB Sportsbook Review.com, the SBR odds page here. And let's see exactly what I got. And let's take a second to load. There we go. So I got the -1 line on the Indians. I got -150 on the money line. If you wanted that right now, the best you get is -159 at Bet Online. I got plus 100 on the -1.5. And when I bet that, I had to deal with a couple things today, and so I didn't get to make my bets for about an hour after the show, and that really cost me. I'm on the Mets first 5 back in Steven Matz. Our Mets expert, Dom Ricci, was giving us all the goods on Matz and what he's been like at home, and we went over the numbers for the Cardinals against Matz, and I don't really trust Ponce de Leon, and I don't really trust the Mets bullpen, so I focused on the Mets first 5 at -121. Quickly going to see what I could get on the Mets first 5 if I wanted that right now. New York Mets first 5. Here we go. Mets first 5. Oh, wow. Yeah. I can't get that anymore. That was the spread. Here we go. Mets first 5. -133 is the best you could get. So and that's at Bookmaker. So I beat that move by 12 cents. And then finally, my final play is Reds on the -1 line, backing Molly. And Chavez is just going to start briefly, and then old Shelby Miller is going to come in, and I expect Shelby Miller to get violated.
Yeah, his door's blown off, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely. And Russ B says he's wearing his lucky thong, boys. So Russ B is really trying to tempt us.
Tell us what you're on, bro.
Yeah, what your action is. What your action is. I think we should be clear on that. What bets you're going to make. Oh, yeah. That's what we want to know. I love that. Russell Gordy says, I love St. Louis first 5. Number is prime for a dog. I feel like Ponce de Leon has had a ton of chances to crack a major league roster, and there's a reason why he hasn't done that. So those are my 3 plays at this point.
Yeah, okay, well, starting off with that one, St. Louis Cardinals, New York Mets, I am involved. I didn't want to cut you off, though, here. -122, I did go full game, Jimmy, and I understand what you're saying about the question marks with the bullpen, considering, 9th inning, it might go to extra innings. You got to watch out there. I think I'm going to go back in and change it to, not change it, but add on first 5 because I like what you talked about there. But I did get a -122 before the show. A lot like you pointed to. Ponce de Leon, I think there's huge question marks here. He's 27 years old, has never really been able to hold a job in the major leagues, and he's shot down to AAA each of the last 3 years. Most of his pitching has been there. 5.34 FIP in the minors. Only a 47 to 30 K to walk ratio, which in the minor leagues, that's awful. And so younger guys, not a lot of experience in MLB that have control issues. He also hit 6 batters this year. It's not something I look to bet at. And so at a low price here on the New York Mets, Steven Matz in play. Also, the New York Mets, the Mets lineup last 2 weeks, number 9 in MLB in terms of team OPS. So I think we're getting a pretty good lineup here. Minus 122 on the Mets. That's a 1-unit play I do have tonight, Jimmy.
I like hearing that. I like hearing that a lot. Our guy Cuban Connect on Brewers team total of 4 and Astros team total of 4. And Anthony Mastronardi talking about that big line move in the under 9.5 in the the Texas Rangers Cincinnati Reds game. We will talk more about that. It doesn't make me that comfortable. I guess, the only game that the Reds bats have lit up was last game. They were averaging 2 runs a game for 8 straight games, and then they got 7 runs. So I think part of it is that this bad pitching staff from Texas, who on bullpen days have done quite well, but going from Chavez to Shelby Miller, that the Reds won't eat off him. But going back to Ponce de Leon, he was the cancer survivor, right? So he came up. Or was it the cancer, or was it the ball to the head?
I'm not sure.
The ball to the head. What? Sorry, I think it might have been. Did he take the ball to the head and fracture his skull?
I'm not sure, man.
There was he came. You know what? I'm gonna look into that while we're talking about the next game. And Brian Riley says, "Come on, the bag. Bet them winnings on the Marlins tonight." Let's see what else are you looking at, and I'm gonna look up Ponce de Leon.
Okay, Pitt versus Miami. I see a lot of guys in the chat box on the Marlins. Just at this price, I don't know, man. Long term, betting the Marlins, laying a price here. What about around minus 120? It's just kind of a question mark for me. We got Brault, only 2 earned runs since May 24th. A shout out to Hunter Inglecourt here in the chat box. He wrote up a play on this, and I liked where he was going on it. Faced the Dodgers, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Atlanta Braves, 3 lineups that are a lot stronger than the lineup he's going to be facing tonight. Also, the fact, Pittsburgh, their lineup, they haven't been playing good baseball, but getting out of town, going down to South Florida, going against, let's face it, a team with upside in the future, but not a very good team overall, and getting a plus price. I do like the Pittsburgh Pirates with a pitcher that has been hot. In a game we talked about before, Jimmy, the Toronto Blue Jays, huge plus price right now in the 260 range, plus 260. Sanchez on the hill. He's a guy I do look to back. 1.27 whip in 5 appearances versus the Astros. That's pretty impressive against this lineup. On the other side of that, Cole, 3.72 ERA, 1 whip, just 5-5 on the year, laying a minus 300 price tag. Now, given if it's minus 110 on each side, I do think the Astros would win this game, but we're betting numbers here, Jimmy. And plus 260, I think Toronto's worth a look, man.
Only Brantley, Reddick, Bregman, and Kemp have seen Sanchez 3 for 15 with 3 singles. All they were able to do against him. Let's take a look at the lineups for the Jays against Garrett Cole. They've got to him a bit. 9 for 38 with a home run and 3 doubles. Let's look at what we're talking about for opening day lineups. And back to that Brault situation, I wouldn't mind just briefly discussing that Brault game and then going back to this, whether or not we should jump on the first 5 here. With Brault, here we go. So only 2 Marlins have ever seen him. But 5 Pirates have seen Trevor Richards and Ofer against them. 0 for 15. And that's Polanco, Dickerson, Moran, Bell, and Marte. No one's ever got a hit off of Trevor Richards. And he's looked much better the last 3 games. He's looked much, much better the last 3 games. Let's take a quick look at lineups. Because I kind of like Brault. And we have Twali Latte, our Pittsburgh Pirates expert. And he's on the Pirates team total over. You've seen that this total started at 8 and moved up to 8.5. For the Pirates, you have Newman, Reynolds, Marte, Bell, Moran, Dickerson, Diaz, Frazier. And for the Marlins, Dean, Cooper, Anderson, Castro, Ramirez, Alfaro, Rivera, Rojas. It is a weak
Did you say
lineup.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I didn't hear it, so if he's not in the lineup, definitely fade.
Yeah, Brian Anderson is in the 3rd spot. So those are moves that I haven't made yet. It's time to bring in a ringer, bring in an expert. It's time to bring in an expert. I'm so excited having Drew here live. And then we get to bring in Donnie Rightside, finishing off this Friday. I love having Donnie on my Late Show Fridays to put a bow on the week. I've not added any plays yet, and I'm interested. I still want to go back to that, maybe taking Jay's first 5, maybe plus a half. We'll still go over that a little bit with Sanchez up against Cole. But right now, let's bring in Donnie Rightside to the show on this Friday evening. couple days before Father's Day. I know you are a father, Donnie. My guy, how you doing on this Friday?
Doing good, man. Hey, Father's Day for you this weekend, Jimmy. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be advantageous in your household there. But I love ending the week here on a Friday and getting after it, you guys. It's been fun.
It is. It is going to be fun. My dad is rolled into town here. My dad
Full
is
Father's
rolled. My dad's
Day
rolled
for
into
you, man.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. It is exciting stuff, Donnie. And I know we don't have you for long, so let's get right at it. Let's get right to work. What are you looking at?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we start with what you guys were just talking about a few moments ago, the Pittsburgh Pirates and those Miami Marlins. Actually, if somebody in the back, I'm getting a lot of reverb in my back, so I do apologize here. I'll try to fight through it.
No, let's not fight through it, Donnie. I want you to be fair. I want you to enjoy every second of this and not bother. Let's see if we can call him back. Let's not. Can we call him back,
please.
Ref? But we're gonna call you back right now, Donnie. The reverb is just so annoying. It's so hard. Like you can't help but hear it and hear it and hear it.
Yeah.
So
Jimmy, where do you think he was going with that? Pirates or Marlins?
That's a good question.
Let's bet on it.
Okay, fine. Let's look at it. Okay, let's go to full game. Let's look at what's happening here. I would like to look at the line movement here. So Brault, Richards. I think that because the line's gone from 8 to 8.5, I think. Okay, and Richards has been so good lately, and it's gone from -111 to -122. And I know these Marlins don't hit lefties at all, but I think that I'm going to say Marlins.
All right.
What do you say?
Oh, I say the Pirates.
Yeah, we'll have to see. T says, Jimmy, what's your dad think about your stepdad's balls popping out of his robe? Oh, he didn't like it. My dad did not like my stepdad, and still doesn't. So yeah, no.
Speaking of a guy with a cool dad.
Yes. Yeah, I only heard because I had pneumonia.
Oh,
I wasn't there with you
No,
guys.
his dad's real cool.
I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, I had to miss that Super Bowl party. All right, let's try Donnie one more time. Donnie, my guy.
Yeah, let's go. Test it. Hey, look, sounds good, man. It sound good over there or what?
Yeah, you're good,
man, we're in business.
No, let's get right to that Pittsburgh Pirates game that you guys were talking about. Now, it's interesting because now looking at this team, we know the Miami Marlins on paper. It looks terrible tonight. We know the Pittsburgh Pirates most of the time. It looks terrible on paper. We're looking at two pitchers here that if you look at their overall numbers, not that good, but both of them actually having some decent starts over the past couple weeks. But that line moved from 8 to 8.5, and I actually agree with the over in this game. If we take a look at some of these, statistics that we want to look at, Richards has been good both ways. You're going to put a little bit of faith in that Pittsburgh lineup, especially 1 through 5. You know me, Jimmy. I love to look at weighted on base averages and what they do with matchups. Richard being a right-handed pitcher, you got Newman in the lineup, 361 weighted on base average, Reynolds 410, Marte 364, Bell 455, and Colin Moran 350 right out of the chute. Now, here's where you sort of have to take that leap of faith, because when we look at Brault, he's rounding back in the form. But the one way that you attack Brault in the lineup, he's a lefty, load up the right-handed batters. To right-handed batters, Jimmy, Brault, 394 weighted on base average. And, oh, yeah, look at that Marlins lineup. All 8 batters from the right-hand side. We hit a couple weeks ago, Jimmy, with Baltimore. We hit 2 weeks ago with Kansas City. This week, we're going to hit with this over 8.5 with the Marlins and the Pirates.
Wow. So these buccos, I guess the sample size is so small because Polanco, Dickerson, Moran, Bell, Marte, they're 0 for 15 against, and Trevor Richards. But Trevor Richards isn't striking him out. I mean, he's just getting soft contact. And we already know that our Pittsburgh Pirates expert, Twadi Latte's on the Pirates team total over. So the over getting touched. Dom Regis said Pittsburgh might lose, but they will get 4 or 5 runs. Capo 17 on the under says take the under. Miami will keep it low. Interesting. Does that make you want to make a move?
I still like my Pirates side, but I think Donnie's, he brings up some good points. But the fact is, Trevor Richards is a hell of a pitcher. So
is he? I mean, this guy was a substitute teacher, 3 years ago?
Substitutes teachers, sometimes they can get it up there. That mile per hour on the radar gun,
Yeah. It looked like people had read the book on his changeup, but he's come back and had 2 or 3 very nice starts, a bunch of very, very nice starts. So we're starting it off with Donnie jumping on the over in the Buccos Marlins spot. The over. Pirates have lost 7 straight. And over his past 4 starts, Richards 3-1 with a 1.09 ERA, but thinking that he will get touched there. I like it. There's Black Baller in the house. What else is on the market there for you, Donnie?
Yeah, you know what? By the way, I didn't check there. Do you have any information? Is the roof going to be open there in South Florida tonight, Drew? You're that resident expert down there. Do you know?
I asked that on the morning show if it was going to be open because but they said that it'd been raining all day. So the people in Miami said they didn't expect it to, but it looked like at 88 Fahrenheit might be a nice night.
I don't think so. Whenever it's raining, they usually close it.
But there's only a possibility of light rain in the later stages of this game. So we'll see. We'll try to
I'll check on it now.
Okay, we'll get that information.
Yeah, it looks like it's closed. I have it. It says Marlins Park retractable closed tonight. So that sort of hurts the over-under a little bit because you like to get that heat and humidity in there. But, Jimmy, I got 3 team totals that we're going to take a look at. You want to see if we can get started on these?
Let's do it.
All right, let's have some fun here. Now, look, you know me, Jimmy. I come on the show. I love to bet against the Philadelphia Phillies. It seems to be profitable for me. It's almost a win-win equation. Philadelphia Phillies lose. I win my team total bet on the other team or a wager on the other team. It's still a decent night here in the right side household. But tonight I'm going to flip it over a little bit. I'm going to go team total over with the Philadelphia Phillies, Jimmy, sitting currently at 4.5 plus 102. So you get a little bit of a dog price here. If you take a look, Max Fried has been really good on the season. So look, it's a little bit of an uphill climb. You got to get the 5. But here's the reason why I like this game. We're going to take a look at it. When you're in Atlanta, what did we just talk about with the Miami Marlins game? It's always hot down there. You're looking at maybe 78, 79 at first pitch. Wind not really having an effect on there. And a Phillies lineup that deals very well with left-handed pitching. Also, even though Max Fried has been in some pretty good conditions over the past couple weeks, he still look, his last 3 starts, 3 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 4 earned runs. You're right on that limit. And as we know in this game, you have 2 teams that are going to be able to hit in 2 suspect bullpens because sometimes when you take a team total, you need the other team to participate. So if we look at the Atlanta Braves tonight, is there any doubt in your mind that the Braves surely can't get the 4 runs? So if you have a 4-4 game, you're going into extra innings, you can plug away being the visitors there and get over the top. Now, also when we take a look at the Phillies lineup, the first 5 guys in this lineup are key. Segura, 424 weighted on base average versus lefties. Bryce Harper, 390. JT Realmuto, 395. Rhys Hoskins, 452. Jay Bruce, 433. Sean Rodriguez is in. You say, Sean Rodriguez, the guy from Pittsburgh, he stinks. But he doesn't stink against lefties, Jimmy. 23 at-bats this year versus lefties. A 417 weighted on base average. You got a lot of plus shots in there. And we know from being the road team, Jimmy, we're going to get a full 9 bats no matter what happens in this game. I think they can get the 5 runs tonight.
What do you think about that?
I wouldn't look the other way. I like what he said, especially the possibility for extra innings. And also, it's in SunTrust Park. You know, this year, more so than years past, the ballpark in Atlanta caters towards hitters. So I like where he's going with that.
Yeah, so Pivetta too. I almost made a move backing Pivetta. He's looked so good. I mean, I haven't got a nice eye test on Pivetta, or at least a legitimate eye test. Maybe I can ask you about this, Donnie. Pivetta, I guess we thought that he was going to be the Phillies' second starter in the rotation. Then he gets destroyed early in the year, goes down to AAA, comes back, and he's looked very good here. And these Braves bats are so scary. So when I started talking about Pivetta on the early show, kind of maybe moving towards betting on the Phillies, everybody said these Braves bats are too hot. What's your read on Pivetta at this moment?
Yeah, Pivetta's been really good. Now, here's another situation that we usually like to pick on a little bit of a fade. When do we like to get these pitchers? When they're at the peak moment, when they just dominated, when they went 9 innings, complete game, and threw 115 pitches. These are the times that you want to fade them a little bit. Now, look, I don't know if I'm betting this game, which I didn't bet aside. I actually think the Braves are the better side tonight. I think their bats are red hot, and it's hard to go up against them because how many times have we seen over the past 2 to 3 weeks, Jimmy? Atlanta's been rolling. They get down 3 runs, 4 runs, or give up 3 or 4 runs. That bats are always firing, and you're in a hitting ballpark. You're at home. It's going to be a big series. I just think those Atlanta Braves will be able to score tonight, but I think the Phillies, no matter what happens in this game, if it's 2-1 the game, I'll just say, you know what, c'est la vie, both these pitchers were great, congratulations. But I just think in that ballpark, with that heat and humidity, with both of these lineups, we're going to get runs. So I did see the line, what was it, over 9 was like minus 122. I would like that as well, because worst case scenario, I can see both these teams getting 4 runs, and you automatically have yourself a push.
In Donnie, let me ask you, this is going to be a pretty hostile, great atmosphere tonight. It's a big game in the NL East here at a great atmosphere ballpark there in SunTrust. Do you think that helps hitters overall, or more so pitchers, just in front of a packed house with a great atmosphere?
Usually the hitters, because the pitcher's going to get a little bit rattled, especially if you're a younger pitcher, which Pivetta is, and Fried is still a young pitcher as well. But the one thing we also have to like is the bullpens, because you like to get two shots at it. When the Yankees are on and completely healthy in their bullpen, and you try to take a team total, and you say, all right, I want the White Sox, and their team total is 4.5. Well, they have 2 after 5. You sort of start scratching your head like, dude, they're going to be lucky to get one more run. But when you look at these two batteries in the back end, they're not that good. And we're looking from a Phillies perspective. If you're back in the Philadelphia Phillies tonight, outside of Hector Neris, who's a really good closer, they have absolutely nothing. So if these young kids get in the high pitch counts and you're digging on bullpens in nice hitting weather, and both of these lineups are stacked with power, take a look at the ISO, numbers on the Philadelphia Phillies alone. They should be able to drive and get this ball out of here. I think it's going to be a good game tonight. I just like the team total a little bit better than the actual side in this one.
Yeah, a lot of great points there, especially getting into the bullpens, like you said. I mean, and I saw you shrug your shoulders there. If both pitchers, go 7-2 earned, it is what it is. But I think you bring up a lot of great points, Donnie, that team total over might be the look.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm close to the only thing that's giving me pause is just the total opening at 9.5, and money came on the over initially. So from 220 to 744 yesterday, it moved up to minus 112, and then something changed early this morning, or when my fear of the European syndicates come in. I don't know, something happened at 4 or 5 in the morning. I like it. I like it. Mm-hmm. Why don't we move on to the next team total, and let's see what Donnie's on.
Yeah, let's go late night here. Now, we're going to a pitching matchup here, which I think is going to be advantageous for one side. It's in an environment which sometimes I usually stay away from because you get that marine layer on the West Coast, but I'm going to look tonight on another team total towards a home team as opposed to a road team here. We're going to go with the Oakland Athletics in this game. It's going to be Marco Gonzalez, the lefty, is going to be on the mound. XFIP, when you take a look at it, it's a 5.10. That's ultimately high. He doesn't have terrible numbers, though, Jimmy. When you look at weighted on base average from left and the right-hand side, you get a 334 for lefties and 336 to righties. The reason I like this game is I got a decent number on it. Oakland over 5 at minus 116. But when you take a look at the lineup for the Oakland Athletics, they're going to be built for this. And again, the same equation comes in. You want 2 shots at team totals. You want a shot at the pitcher, the starting pitcher, which you think you can get some runs on. And then we're looking at that Seattle bullpen. Just the other day, I was sitting on a Minnesota Twins team total over and thought it was dead after the 5th inning. They had 1 run off Kikuchi. Then all of a sudden, the bullpen comes in, and they exploded in that game and ended up with double-digit runs. This might be the same case here, because when we're taking a look at weighted on base averages versus Marco Gonzalez, who I don't think is a very good pitcher overall, you have Simeon leading off at 332, Canha 384, Chapman 369, Davis 433, Pinder 364, Olsen 486, Profar 367, and Fegley 385. That means these guys are getting on, their power strokes going. And I have a pitcher on the mound that's more of a slop guy, left-handed pitcher, a lot of curveballs thrown in there. These guys should be able to hit. And once again, if he goes out and has 5 innings pitched for Gonzalez, 2 earned runs, we got some nice cracks at this bullpen. I think they get 5 or more runs tonight. We can cash this ticket in.
Donnie, what about the full game total over as well? What's keeping you off that?
Yeah, I mean, because it's more or less, when I take a look at this game, is I trust the Oakland bats to get it going as opposed to more than Seattle, off that road trip going out west. And even Edwin Encarnacion is going to sit this one out. I always find it funny when a DH needs a day of rest, which is hilarious. I just don't trust those bats overall, Seattle. And I don't want to leave it up to it because it's one of those games where I can see 6-1 is a final and be like, man, why didn't I just stay with Oakland in this one? But you're right. If you're looking at a total in this picture, both of these pitchers aren't great. These hitters can hit, but I just feel a little bit more comfortable saying, you know what? When I look at this Oakland lineup, 1 through 9, they should be able to get to the starting pitcher, and they should be able to get to this bullpen as well.
Yeah, I looked at this game pretty much the same way as you did. The thing keeping me off of it was, like you talked about, marine layer on the West Coast. And I actually like the Mariners over more so. One, because of their defense, which really much helps what you're talking about in Oakland's team total, but also their lineup. Last 2 weeks, what a top 5 lineup here. Team OPS flirting with 800, so they can hit the ball as well. It was just something I was interested in why not full total over.
Well, we were talking about this game, Donnie, before we came to air, because it is a very fascinating game to me because we have this A's team that just smashes lefties. They smash them. But then you have Marco Gonzalez, a pitcher who they've seen enough of, 86 at-bats against them, and they don't smash Gonzalez. And, you look at all these right-handed bats, Chapman is the only guy who really gets to him. Chapman 5 for 13 with 4 doubles. But they have a batting average against Gonzalez of 221 and 663 OPS. And I was shocked to read that. At first, when I was going to see, because I was like, oh, I bet you these guys touch Gonzalez, and they really don't. They've hit 2 home runs in 86 at-bats, one by Chris Davis, one by Piscotty, and that's what concerned me. That's what concerned me. What do you, like, when you're looking, what do you weigh more important, how they hit lefties in general, or how they hit this certain lefty?
Yeah, what like just to say I'm breaking down like Gonzalez and how he pitches. Like the xFIP is something there because you want the ball in the air. You want to see guys that are driving. So a 5.10 is really getting my attention off the bat. But the things I like to look at is usually with a lefty. If you have a lefty-heavy lineup, which many Major League Baseball teams don't have that, so you're going to get an all right-handed perspective. The same way tonight, you have 8 right-handed batters in that lineup, all with elevated weighted on base averages versus lefties. They say, all right, well, where can I factor this in? Because sometimes left-handed pitchers do better against right-handed batters as opposed to lefties. When we take a look at Gonzalez on the season, 334 to lefties and 336 to righties. So he's really equal opportunity, but he doesn't have a strength. Like when we talk about, Drew, you brought up a good point, like looking at maybe the Seattle team total here. When we look at Bassett on the mound, his elevated xFIP 4.40, it's not that bad, but he doesn't give that much up to righties. When we're talking about weighted on base average to right-handed batters, it's only a 289. And if we're looking at the overall number, anywhere between 320 to 330 is the average. So he's a plus going against righties. And then even as lefties, it's a 320, right on that demarcation line where it's like, you know what? Where am I going to get this average at? At least when I'm looking at the opposite side with Gonzalez on the mound, he's a little bit elevated both ways. But if I'm always going to get a left-handed pitcher and I can stack up 8 right-handed bats against the guy, I'm probably going to pick that side before I pick the other one.
It's a great breakdown. I love this stuff. I eat this shit up, man. I fucking love every second of this. Russell Gordy saying, Jimmy, we need dogs, not faves. I hear you. We got lots more games to go and break down. And for me, so Donnie, I'm on a roll right now, up 23.29 units since the last Monday. And really, I've been focusing on first fives. These bullpens are such trash this year. I feel like they're worse than ever before. And that team total could easily hit, even if Gonzalez has a good start. Yes. Because the A's can get to this Mariners bullpen. What's the next team total that you're looking at?
Yeah, the third and final one here. Now, this is going to be interesting. And I actually got a little bit better price because Nolan Arenado is out of the lineup. We're going to go to Colorado and those Colorado Rockies. When you look at the lineup, you say, wait a second. Doesn't look very good or appealing on paper here. But when we take a look at Cal Quantrill tonight, the way you want to attack him is the way we're going to attack this game. I actually got over 5.5, a little bit juicy here, minus 130, but it's okay. I think we can. I think as opposed to taking the 6, which was like minus 102 or minus 103, I'm going to go 5.5. So 6 is going to give me the victory tonight. If we want to attack Cal Quantrill, 4.0 xFIP, not that bad. Taking a young pitcher, you're going to put him up in Colorado in the elevation. And how do we attack this guy, Jimmy? From the left-hand side. He's elevated. Look at this. 71 at-bats that he's pitched. He's a right-handed pitcher, keep in mind, to left-handed bats. 444 weighted on base average, and even better, an ISO of 317. Keep in mind, a very good ISO is 170 to 180. He's at 317. So how are we going to do this with this lineup with Nolan Arenado in the lineup? We're going to attack it with lefties. Blackman's a lefty. Dahl's a lefty. Murphy's a lefty. Tapia is a lefty. McMahon's a lefty. Walters is a lefty. How many times do you get to see in Major League Baseball, Jimmy, a National League lineup, 6 out of the 8 batters going to come from the left-hand side in elevation, 78, 79 degrees here at first pitch. We should get this ball traveling. And the good part about it is, again, when you're looking at San Diego tonight, you should have an equal opportunity on the opposite side to push that envelope. What are we looking at? 12.5 or 13 as a run total in this game? Hoffman's not going to hold that lineup down, so we should have a lot of at-bats. We might even get a tie late in the ball game, but just those left-handed bats should carry the day and get those 6 runs and cash this ticket.
Yeah, you were talking about this game again, another spot. It's just so much fun having you in the office, getting to talk about these games before we come to air. What was your feeling on Cal Quantrill in this spot?
I think there's a lot of question marks. You know, one, and I know there's a lot of Canadians in the chat box, you yourself, Jimmy, but you know, a young guy, and also he's gone 9 days before one of his starts. Then now I believe it's 10 days since his last start. So there's kind of, you know, he's not really getting into the rhythm that a lot of these young pitchers like to get into. So I think there's question marks there as well. Young pitchers, like Donnie said, going into Colorado.
Man, sorry to interrupt, but that reminds me of your call when I mentioned how his last start, the pitcher whose last start was in Toledo on a Friday, and you said, well, that means he's only had 4 days, and that kid got destroyed.
That's like a little sleeper angle that I keep because I can remember just, never making it near the major leagues. But when you're pitching too close to your last start, your arm isn't feeling it nearly as much. And you hear guys talk about it all the time. So using those little things to your advantage, not being, exactly 5 or 6 days after your last start, keep in mind, those things are big.
I'm telling you what, this is leaning me towards the Rockies because the one thing that I've been doing is letting these teams do the work for us, Donnie. And when you see a guy like Hoffman, and he was part of the Tulowitzki trade with the Jays, you see a guy like Hoffman and the experts who watch this guy every day are keeping him in the rotation. And there's other guys that they've got other guys in AAA that they could be using, but they're keeping Hoffman. They keep giving Hoffman opportunities. That to me says they like what he's doing. He's just been getting bad luck and he's not performing well in the thin air. And all this, and I was saying, you know what? With that 8 ERA, this could be a nice time to buy low. Get Hoffman when nobody likes him and nobody wants to back him. And then we're talking about Arenado not in the lineup. Is this a spot where we jump on the Rockies as well?
I like the Rockies here. And I'll let you have at it, Donnie.
No, I was going to say I do like the Rockies here, and the reason being is you say, it's Nolan Arenado is going to affect them a lot more. I mean, he's a great hitter, don't get me wrong, but he's a run stealer at third base. You ever watch Nolan Arenado play a rocket down the line that he stabs, or an easy double down the line, or just a tough play? He makes those all. Those are run-saving plays. And also, let's keep in mind, Nolan Arenado is a right-handed batter. He's getting replaced tonight by a lefty, which isn't really a bad thing here.
If I gave you a free play, Donnie, on either the full game over or the Rockies, what would you take?
I probably would lean Rockies here because, the hard part about this is you're taking a look at a lineup for the San Diego Padres. Let's just say they have 1, 2. They only have 2 lefties in, and Hoffman gets rocked from the right-hand side. So you're sort of behind the, no pun intended, a rock in a hard place when you try to take a look at this game. But I'm just going to go against it. So you know what? This is the Rockies environment. They're at home. Hoffman's used to pitching in elevation. I want to see how this kid reacts because also we're talking about Quantrill on the mound. He's not a guy that's he's a horse. He's going to throw 90 pitches, 100 pitches. He's going to get us into the 7th or 8th inning. He's basically a 5-inning pitcher, so you're going to burn through that bullpen as well, just like the home team Rockies in this game.
And I'm going to do it. My first addition to the card is the Colorado Rockies money line here. The best line I can get is at Pinnacle -104. And we have my first edition on the card. That took a long time before I got to my first edition. There we go, -104. I'm going to bag it and tag it. I love it. I know, Donnie, you've got to run. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. I know you're busy today and you've got to run, but it means so much to us that you join us on these Fridays. I absolutely love hanging with you, my guy. And it looks, and we can't really talk about it yet, like we're going to Miami. And if we're going to go to Miami, we're going to be sending Donnie down to party with us in the Cap with us all week. And we can't really talk about it yet. Supposedly, I'm not allowed to talk about it until Monday. So I fucked that up. But, Donnie, I want to be partying with you in Miami so bad, and it looks like that might happen. I'm not
Hey, Donnie. I know you're kind of a sleeper Hurricanes fan, man. You know that's the weekend.
You know what's? I saw you. You're going back to the tweet that you saw, and I'm lining it up, looking at it. Like the Phillies are in Miami, the Canes are playing the Gators. I'm like, Jesus, is this like a national holiday for me? Because I've flown down many times and stayed in South Beach and went to Miami Hurricane games. And as soon as you said that, I'm like, how are all the stars aligning for this weekend like this?
Yeah, and the Phillies game's locked for the Friday night. Phillies Marlins.
We're not allowed to talk about it.
We're not allowed to talk about it, so I gotta stop talking about it. Donnie, thank you so much. Where can we find you on Twitter, and tell us about some of your other shows that you got banging out?
At Right Side VP as usual here. Yeah, I got a nice little home here on Friday night with Jimmy, and we are getting a little bit of information behind the scenes on the Audible rekindling. That's going to be a lot of fun for the fall. But I do the radio show on WCKG Radio Chicago each and every day, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's a lot of fun. Me and Teddy do also the That Betting Show, which comes out around 4 p.m. edited. A lot of fun on the channel. It's good to be part of the family, Jimmy. Always nice to end my week here. We'll just see if we can get some winners out of it. We'll be back next week and do it again.
Oh, man. How much fun is it having Donnie join us on Fridays?
Great dude.
Yeah, man. Okay, so thankful to have Donnie joining us. Okay, well, we don't have a lot of time left, and I want to talk about more of these games and more of these spots. So let's start figuring out what moves to make here. We didn't have the Orioles pitcher announced all day. You know, we were waiting for to figure out who the Orioles were going to throw, and it's Ortiz. I'm going to pull him up on get all of his stats, get baseballreference.com. I'm going to grab Ortiz's information. That game opened at plus 240 for the Orioles, and that was just too big of a line, I guess, because money came in on the Orioles. Now it's plus 211. Rodriguez versus Ortiz. While I'm doing that, let's just talk about Red Sox lost 5 of 8, but they just won the final 2 games of that homestand. So they lost 5 of 8. Huge favorites here. And then I want to talk about that Jays game a little more, but let's start here with Red Sox, Orioles, and I'm going to look up that picture while I'm doing that.
Also, Jimmy, keep in mind, Baltimore's lost 6 of 8, and Boston is 15-2, their last 17 in Baltimore. I read something like that. So absolutely dominating the Orioles on the road, whatever it is, the sight lines, the backdrop. They see the ball well, they hit the ball well in Baltimore. So it's just a heavy line here on the Red Sox. And to your point about the Baltimore not putting up the pitcher until just recently, and also just openers in general. I'm hearing rumors of sports books, not necessarily offshore, but in Las Vegas, opening their pitching taking bets to just open pitcher. Have you heard of that?
Yeah. And one thing we talk about with that, just take it, decide whether you want to do action or no action. Mm-hmm. It's becoming so much more complicated now with these openers. So much more complicated. I've got Ortiz up here right now. Norfolk, he's been terrible this year. Terrible. And one thing that I've struggled with, and we just saw this with, we just saw this yesterday. I'll get the name of the pitcher we just saw this with, but he had a very high ERA in the PCL. It was for the Jays. It was that kid, the Harvard graduate for the Jays, with the Bo Taylor battery, and he comes in and they ended up losing. Rays covered the -1.5, but he went 5 innings scoreless. Here he's from in Norfolk this year, 2-6, 7.01 ERA. The guy just looks like
PCL is a lot of hitters parks in that league. So,
but this is Norfolk with a 7 ERA. Amazing. The Baltimore is just at the bottom of the barrel. So the only way you'd really want to attack this, I guess, would be team total overs. Lance Rose saying Red Sox over. And, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Then we have the Heaney-Snell matchup. I found it interesting that money was coming in on Heaney. He has not looked good, but then he had 3 starts this year, and 2 of them were back-to-back against the Mariners, his last 2. Snell just does not look like the Cy Young winner that he was last year. What do you think about this Angels-Rays situation?
Both lineups pretty average against lefties, so I don't think there's much of an advantage there. I like the fact that the Angels came in last night and won in the Trop. We've talked about it before. AL Central, AL West, and NL teams going into Tropicana for the first game of that year. I looked to actually fade that team just because of the lighting, the atmosphere in the stadium, but they actually came in, bucked that trend, and won last night. Their lineup's been good, and it's been getting better on the road as well. So the Angels at a big plus price here, I think is worth a look. Add in the fact that Tampa Bay is 1-6, their last 7 at home. Lost 3 straight as well. I don't know, man. 3.5 ERA for Snell. I think this is too big of a price. That the Tampa side, a good team overall, it's just price-wise, I would look towards the Angels. I haven't bet it yet, though.
I haven't bet it yet either, and I don't know if I want to make a move on it. D-Bash saying Red Sox team total over. I agree that Snell's should not be this big of a favorite, but I just think the jury's kind of out with Heaney right now. I don't really trust him either, but this offense is rolling now with Trout, Ohtani, Pujols, 2, 3, 4, and then back to this Red Sox game. Chavez, Benintendi, Martinez, Devers, Bogarts, Brock Holt, Vasquez, Bradley Jr., Nunez. Let's take a look at what we'd get if we wanted a full game team total over on the Red Sox. On the Red Sox, here we go. And I can't find it. Jays team total over 2.5. Come on. 2.5? 2.5 against Cole? I mean, let's go over that lineup in a second.
That might be a look. 2.5 minus 110 rather than take him plus 260?
It's minus 136.
On the over?
On the over, 2.5. So it's not quite as good as that may have looked a second ago. Why can't I get this Orioles team total over? Oh, because it's still not up yet. Yeah, let me see if I can refresh it because of the waiting to see who is pitching. They haven't even sent out a team total over here yet. Let's see if it's now here. Yeah, it's here now. So it's over 6.5. At plus 108, I don't want to mess with that.
Molly Mall saying, I don't trust any. And that's a good point. He hasn't had a lot of starts, Jimmy. So, it's almost like spring training form right now. And that's one thing that I forgot to say, breaking this down, of why I haven't bet the Angels side yet, is because these guys, almost still in spring training form.
Spring training mode. If I wanted the Jays and Sanchez first 5 plus a half. I get plus 155. And we talked about with Babano how having Kevin Biggio and Guerrero Jr. and Lourdes Gurriel 1, 2, 3 gives this team tons of excitement. You know, they're happy, they're excited to be out there. Who cares that they're 25 and 43? They're like pumped. And Aaron Sanchez would feed off that. Then you got Tellez, Smoke, Grichuk, Galvis, Drury, Maye going up against Bregman, Brantley, and then there's Gurriel. So both the Gurriel brothers are batting third for their respective teams. Then Alvarez, Chirinos, Reddick, White, Kemp, Marisnik. Listen, I'm looking at this spot, and I know when you say listen, it sounds like your argument is weak. You know?
Not necessarily.
No, listen. So I always feel that way, and I should watch what I'm about to say if I start with listen. D-Batch says Sox still winning. Look, I feel like this has got a ton of value. Oh, there's Andrew McKinnis in the house. Love seeing that. Excuse me. Love seeing Andrew McKinnis in the house.
What's up, McGinnis?
I think this has a ton of value, and I'm going to go for it. Look, this is an Astros lineup that's being beaten up. And all I need them is 5 innings. Sanchez to have a nice start. Why don't I take a look at see how these Astros hit Sanchez, and why don't we take a quick look at that? I'm about to make that move. Are you going to stay off this game? And I understand not wanting to.
Are you the Angels game?
No, this J spot. I'm going to take them first 5. Oh, we already looked. Brantley, Reddick, Bregman, and Kemp.
I'm already on it plus 260.
Oh wow, you took full game plus 260.
Yeah, went in Rome.
Wow.
Went down in Costa Rica. A little. Yeah, I just thought the price was right, so plus 260. I'm on the.
Wow, that's exciting. You're the first person. No one's come out of the woodwork to say I agree. Marty Muerte says I love Biggio and Gurriel and Houston tonight. Look, I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to do it with a ridiculous amount of fear. I'm going to take Toronto first 5 plus a half, and that's plus 155 across the board. Toronto. I think this is my second or third bet on the Jays all year. I've just stayed away from this trash baseball team. I just feel like it's a great spot. El Duque says Bregman grew up on the same street as me. Hell of a human being. Hell of a human being.
Went to LSU, I think.
El
right?
Duque, you sound like you're 80 years old. Hell of a human being. You sound like you're. But I love it. Andrew McKinnon said, Jimmy, you pumped about the CFL season, brother. How could I not be? The Leos got Mike Riley back. He was ours at first. We got him back. I'm pumped. I am pumped. Okay, I'm going to grab that spot right now for the Jays. And let's go. Let's see. What games have we not talked about? Because we've got to close this show up. Already on the Reds and Mali. We've talked about Pavetta versus Fried. Yankees, White Sox. Okay, good. Let's finish it off with Yankees, White Sox. Do we make a move with Giolito? I was leaning first 5 and first 5 under 4.5. Do we make a move with Giolito against Sabathia? White Sox team struggles against lefties, and I know the Yankees smash righties, but this Giolito going for his 9th straight win, 8-0 with a 1.69 ERA in his last 10. Could you briefly talk about Yankees, White Sox while I grab this plus 155?
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about struggling against lefties, and the Yankees did lose last night. I had them on the run line, so took the loss in that. Giolito, it's one thing, if you're getting plus prices on him and the White Sox, especially going against the Yankees. Here at this price, though, pretty much a pick 'em price, pick the winner. And I don't know, man. I just think that it's not enough here. At a plus price, I like backing Giolito in the White Sox. Here, I think the secret's out. We're seeing it in the price, Jimmy. Getting Sabathia coming from the left side. Minus 105, probably both. It is both ways here. You can shop around for a little bit better number on one side or the other. There are some books with opinion here. 5 dimes going minus 107 on the Yankees, so you can get almost a plus price there with the White Sox. I still don't think it's enough. It's enough for me to pass as of now, Jimmy.
Garcia, Anderson, Abreu, McCann, Jimenez, Castillo, Rondon, Sanchez, Cordell for the Yankees, LeMahieu, Voit, Hicks, Sanchez, Gregorius, Torres, Frazier, Ursula, Gardner. I've made the mistake of this year of looking at that Yankees line and being like, look, it's trash.
Yeah.
And, that's cost me so far. And then earlier today, I was looking at these numbers against Sabathia, and he was very, very good against these Yankees. Very, very good. Here we go. Sabathia. So they're hitting 175 off of Sabathia. 63 at-bats, 11 hits, 1 double, 2 homers. So to me, I think Giolito can have another nice start. And very interesting stuff here. I'm going to start copying and pasting Ski's stuff on WNBA because we didn't get a chance to get to that. But and then Neil Frank saying a huge move to Giolito first 5. I wouldn't mind looking at that too. I'm going to take a quick look at the Royals first 5. Here we go. Money lines and totals. Let's do that.
Also looking at the weather here, we got south-southwest 15 miles per hour on the south side, so a crosswind. I don't know if that really helps one side or the other. I guess with both pitchers coming from the left side, it is kind of blowing towards left field, not necessarily out. with the total moving from 9 to 8.5. I kind of like that move towards the under.
I do too. I think that's the spot. I really do think that's the spot. Brian Watson asking about Canadian football picks. I'm going to stay off this game. I just really feel uncomfortable with it. But I'm going to cap the 2 Saturday games tonight, and I'm going to make some moves on the CFL. I like this under here. I like what's the weather? How warm is it in Chicago there in the Yankees White Sox game? I'm very close to making.
Looks like 73 degrees, 71 degrees.
73, 71. Okay. And Ski Profit coming in with his plays. So let's go over that before we close this up. And I'm going to grab here right now. The New York Yankees, Chicago White Sox, first 5 under 4.5. This opened under 4.5 plus, so it's juiced to the over. And there's been a small move towards the under 4.5, but I can still get it a plus line here at Pinnacle, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the under 4.5 at plus 102. So I'm going to take that. So I'm not going to take White Sox first 5. If I wanted, I should have probably got it earlier. And I don't love it, but I do think there could be some nice pitching here. So first 5 under 4.5 at plus 102. Book it.
Nice.
Book it. And then we pretty much hit all the games. We didn't get to the Royals Twins game. I guess that's and we didn't touch.
Arizona?
I already jumped on the Dodgers first 5 minus a half at plus 105. Big Boss is on the first 5 under 4. I know a lot of people liking the Cubs here in this spot, but these Dodgers bats have smashed Hendricks in the past, and Rich Hill has great numbers against them, against the Cubbies. So I'm going to stick with this Dodgers first 5. And then Big Boss is on the Brewers minus 1.5 at plus 115. And we saw a market move towards the Giants.
Yeah.
And the Dave LA is on the Giants at plus 130. And I thought that was interesting, thinking that Pomerantz might start pitching better. That move scared me. So you do like the Big Boss being back in the Brew Crew?
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I mean, especially they smash lefties. I know it's on the road, but still, I mean, under minus 140, you get the much better team overall. Pomerantz isn't anything to brag about. Davies, can change speeds, hold a lineup. I was looking that way. I didn't bet him yet, though, Jimmy.
Ski Profit saying back bad teams off a win, back double-digit dogs in WNBA. We're talking WNBA here. It says Aces were 11-point road favorites, lost by 10. Now 12-point favorites versus Liberty at home. Aces have lost 3 of 4. Very, very interesting stuff here. And Jay Money is all over this Las Vegas Aces spot, and I might want to make a move on that. Might want to make a move there. So I guess we've talked about every spot. You don't have a move on this Hendricks-Rich Hill game, Cubs-Dodgers?
No, I would look towards the Dodgers. It's just I didn't get there. I mean, do we need to recap our bets, or
we should. Yes, we should. I guess we got to put a bow on this. CT Bays saying Brewers run line is Mando. Man, how great was Big Boss on the show? So I've added now 3 plays. I've added the Rockies money line at minus 104. I've added the Jays first 5 plus a half at plus 155, and I've just added. What was the other one? I just added the White Sox first 5 under 4.5 at plus 102. Underdog giving us congratulations. Yes. Why don't you? Oh, and then finally, so we didn't get to that one game we didn't get to. If we could just talk about it for 30 seconds. Dylan Freeman on the Aces Liberty first half under one game, and Joe Rich Ramirez on the first 5 Brew Crew. One game we didn't get to was that Brad Keller, Kyle Gibson spot. Royals at Twins, 77 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 10 miles per hour, out to left center. Let me just quickly look at what that is. Weather-wise, we're going to go, money lines and totals here at sportsbookreview.com. And here we go, KC, Minnesota. It opened at 9.5, and only Pinnacle is hanging the 9.5 still. And look, it's not even juiced to the over. Well, it's minus 108. All the other books at 10, and Pinnacle hanging at 908, or 9.5, just minus 108, saying if you want overs, bet them here.
Yeah. That's wild, and you've pointed that out many times, Jimmy. That's a sharp look there towards the under.
It's advantage betting, yeah. And Gibson at minus 190, opening at minus 190. There's a 25-cent move towards the Minnesota Twins. Wow, isn't that interesting? Let's see what I find that stuff so curious when a book is saying, please, if you want to make the bet, make it here. And they had it at 10, at 407, and they had it at 10, and wow, so they've been bouncing back and forth from 9.5, 10. So what that tells me is they have. You could look at it different ways, but one way to possibly look at it at this point is they have money bet on the over. They have a lot of money bet on the under, and they want to get some
Yeah,
to
and
tie
when it
it
goes
up.
back and forth like that, differing opinions. So they have, one client they respect, liking the under, and then another, or at least wanting to not go too far down on another client liking the over.
Very interesting. And we're going to quickly do this. My guy Underdog wants to know what the Raptors are to repeat. El Duque says, you guys doing company sponsorship or small ads? El Duque, do you have a company in mind that we want us? Because hit me, man. Let me know, El Duque, because we'd anything that to get the paper rolling through here, man. We'd be happy to. Pete and I were looking at backing a prune juice company. Prune juice, because we thought we got to think outside the box for sponsorship.
Yeah.
And why not prune
Whatever
juice?
happened with that?
Good question.
All right.
Good question. Whatever happened. I got to look into that. Okay, basketball futures, and then we're going to bring in. Here we go. Oh no, they're not up in my book yet. Too bad. Okay, they're not. Oh yes, they are. Sorry, my fault. To win outright here. So we do know we did that off the top that in Vegas right now, the favorite to win the NBA championship was the Lakers, and then over on the other coast at FanDuel, they have the Brooklyn. But look at here at this book, Warriors are plus 500 with the Lakers are plus 500. Isn't that crazy? So you can get, it's just all over the map right now. Raptors are plus 600. Very interesting. God, it's going to be a wild year next year.
Somebody has Brooklyn as the favorite?
Well, Kyrie is going to play for them, it looks like, and they have a very good young basketball team, Rock Nation. Do not surprise if the Blue Jays pull it out tonight. I love that.
Nice.
From our friend in the Far East saying, do not surprise if the Blue Jays pull it off tonight. I love it. Okay, thank you guys so much. Okay, so can you review all your plays?
Yeah, got Toronto plus 260, like our friend in the Far East here. New York Mets minus 122. And the Pittsburgh Pirates plus 110. And I just added with you here the low bag special, betting with the bag special, Colorado plus 105 on the fly.
Colorado plus 105. Where'd you get him at plus 105?
Bet online.
How the hell did that just change? Because let me see. Sorry. So I've got the Indians on the minus one line, minus 150 and plus 100. I got Mets first five at minus 121. I beat that move quite nicely. And then I've Reds minus 154 plus 125. That's from the early show. And then my additions were White Sox first five under 4.5 and plus 102. Blue Jays first five plus a half. Sorry, I didn't write that. At plus 155. And then let me get to this Rocky spot right here. I got minus 104.
No, minus 104. Shit. Sorry.
Look at the polite capper swearing and covering his mouth after.
No, I'm not mad about swearing. I'm mad about writing that down wrong.
No worries. Don Regis says, look for the second installment of the Low Bag Report this week on Twitter. Drew, you and Pabano are part of the third installment next week. Man, I love my guy Don Ricci. And let's try to get together a low bag, some of the champions on Saturday. Drew, we got to go. We've gone late, and I apologize. I've just had so much fun having Drew in studio here with us.
Thanks for joining us,
Drew,
boys.
there is one more thing to do here on the show. One more thing.
I got to keep all my clothes on, man.
Oh, Jesus. You know me. I would never ask you for that, man.
Okay.
That's why we go to Tango India, man. What do I need this guy for when I got Tango India? I need you to introduce none other than Lucrative Larry.
Lucrative Larry, nice.
Can you give him a big introduction?
Sí, mi amigo de Costa Rica, Lucrative Larry.
Oh, looking good, man. Looking so good.
Hey, no, man, you can say that. No, please.
All right.
After you, I can sit in.
Sorry about that, man. You want to sit on my lap?
No, come on.
Oh, that's-
no, we
all
don't do
right.
that. That's not going to help.
Yeah,
guy's
a little
taking it too
weird.
far.
Bad
Sorry.
for rating.
It is bad for rating.
Yeah, okay. And
For my hernia. Oh,
Yeah.
no, Freddie's got a
That's
hernia.
Freddie. Yeah,
He's got a hernia, man.
yeah, that's so funny.
He has a real hernia?
He has a real hernia, yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. I love
Wow.
Yeah, we get big laughs. We get big laughs.
it. Yeah,
out
we
of
do.
it.
We do. I get two in
Look
in
at
the
that
afternoon.
Canada shit. I love it, man.
We the North.
We the North.
Yeah. We the North. Now that you bring that up, I know it was you who brought that up.
Yeah.
I will only take Canadian plays from now on.
Ooh.
After yesterday, something in me just changed.
Yeah.
I will only take Canadian people plays. I don't care. I don't care if they're tall or they're small.
Okay.
I don't care what crimes they've committed.
Sure.
I don't care if they have McDonald's or Burger King. I don't care if they're male or female. I don't care if they watch Telemundo or not Telemundo. I don't care about anything else. I don't care I don't care
But what you do care about
if they do speak French.
is that they're Canadian.
Is it they're Canadian? Oh, Canada.
You already butchered that once today. What's your play?
Milos Raonic
Oh.
to win. I told you.
What sport is that?
You don't know who Milos Raonic is? Who's this guy? This
Hey.
guy has no respect for Canadians.
What am I supposed to do now?
Yeah. Guy.
I'm wanting to follow you, and you're not even going to tell me?
I don't know if I should give the play tonight.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be quiet now.
What's your play? Come on. Raonic, over.
Strike one, Drew.
I got two left.
Fair. That's fair.
Milos Raonic to win 2-0 against Felix Auger Aliassime. At plus 110, I bet 365.
Yeah, let's not tell them the sport.
I don't care if they take Taco Bell or anything else. I don't care what they do in
Well, we
life.
get that.
I don't care if they're white or they're black. I don't care if they're male or female. I don't care.
No, I got it. I got it. It's just like the bedroom for you. Leche! Hey, those
You have to do
bookmakers!
it too.